right. So our meeting will commence today, Tuesday, October 11th. The time, 5:28 Mountain Standard Time. And the agenda today, I guess we're going to start out with Mark teaching Hibernate. And remember, right now, we're trying to reach out to him, so hopefully we can get to him and get him back on. He's supposed to be teaching JUnit tests, so maybe as a group we can go over it. But after that, I don't know. I guess we can go till that. Do you want to go ahead and just go ahead with your Hibernate, Mark?
All right, I'm ready for that.
Sweet, let's do it.
The right key, so. Okay, so I believe I have my screen shared. So what I'm covering today is, unfortunately, not how to really use Hibernate, because I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but what Hibernate is. And I found a few resources here that I posted this presentation already in our Google Drive, so we have access to it. In the last slide, I have several resources that are available to use for additional information. And I found it quite useful, actually, as I went through this, because I had no clue what Hibernate was before I started this. And up until this point, if you asked me what Hibernate was, I thought it was a sleep state of a computer. So,
yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
Let's see. All right, so Hibernate. So what I discovered about Hibernate is that it's an application. Essentially, it's an in-between application that connects your Java code to a database, whether it be Oracle, SQL, MySQL, or whatever it is. It essentially runs a Java API that allows the two that maps the. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. No, right here. It solves it called the impedance mismatch problem, where it matches or. Okay, that's the next slide that I'm looking at. So what it maps there is the Java class to the database table, or job tables to SQL tables, and that. What I thought was the nice thing about it is that it relieves 95% of the common data persistence related programming tasks. To me, I thought, well, that could be a big deal when you're trying to write something, and it's taking care of the majority of the work right there for us already. And how it all works, like I said, I didn't get that far into this tutorial to find out, but Hibernate will take care of that for us, it sounds like. So it takes care of the mapping issues. It uses, as we mentioned the other week, it uses XML files. And these XML files are often custom written for the program, but they can be auto-generated as well. It's that most developers prefer to custom write their XML files, but we have the option to do either way. Let's see what else about it. The big key is that Hibernate does not require an application server to operate it. So it shouldn't be too hard for us to implement into our project that we're doing.
So I have a question.
Yes, I'll go back to it.
You said that it's XML, but we're supposed to use JSON, which is supposedly better than XML for passing the data back and forth.
Well, when the XML are the config files for Hibernate.
Oh, okay.
They have to be XML, and they're
Okay, they're config files. Okay, good.
Yes.
Because
right.
I was concerned all of a sudden that it passes XML files.
Nope.
Okay. I'm still trying to learn what all this is, so that's a good question. I didn't even catch that when I went through it. Okay.
Java uses those XML files to talk to the database. That's basically what it does.
Got it.
Right.
All
I
right.
did put an example of that in here of how it maps the Java class to the database tables. In this tutorial, there's many examples of how it does that and what it looks like, and I just didn't include. Well, I do have an XML file later on, but
I'd be happy to show my screen too.
I do have an XML file. I did remember I put one in there, but we can look at yours since you'll know a little bit more than I will about this. Supported database and technologies, just basic list of what we can do with it. Many different options there. So I think we're not too limited. So our architecture, and this is one of the big things I liked about the architecture is it says it's layered so we don't have to know the underlying API. And for me, who's not very strong in coding and programming, that is a big deal to me, where you don't have to actually know how to write all those APIs. It just kind of works. Someone else did all the hard thinking for me. Uses Java, the JDBC and JTA, the Java Transaction API, and Java Naming Directory interface for it to all communicate between the Java and the database that we decide to use it with. Okay, so mapping files, we mentioned XML documents. And this one thing I picked up about them when we save the mapping files, you have to remember it as the class name .hbm.xml. It did specify that it has to be that naming format for it to work.
Is it case sensitive?
Yes. Sorry.
So HBM and
know that
XML have to be capital?
No, but the name of your file has to be
Okay.
the same case as your class. The HTML XML doesn't matter.
Okay.
That makes sense because the class names are case sensitive.
Class names are always case sensitive.
Yes.
That just helped me out with my program. Thank you.
Okay.
I did not have the class name capitalized. You're an awesome teacher, man. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so here's an example of an HTML or the XML code file that they have in there. So under the wrong screen. Here where we have class name. Go back one. Yeah, it's class name where we have employee, then it has the table name of employee. We see how the class name for Java is capital and all the rest lowercase, whereas the database was all capital letters. And this is kind of how it maps the two together and views the different to allow those communication between the Java and the database. Then towards the bottom we have proper name as first name, and then column, then first name. We see those different types there as well, where it's mapping strings or integers. And and in the tutorial that I've listed, it lists just the Java code, just the database code. And this was the XML code that kind of maps the two together. All right, so that was kind of my high-level overview I had for Hibernate. This first website I have listed, the tutorials point, Hibernate. That one I thought was a really good detail of what Hibernate is and how to use it, which I hadn't got through the whole tutorial yet, but that's what I use for a lot of my information. Let's see if I can pull that up here. All right, so this is just basic information like this. We have
wow.
all these different topics on Hibernate that it goes through, and you can click on a PDF to open each one in a PDF and save it for like offline reading, and then additional resources as well. And so this is kind of the main page I pulled all this information from. All right, so that's what I have on Hibernate. Do you guys have any other questions that I can refer to this website for?
I'm going to the examples right now just because I want to see what they look like. Oh, come on.
Yeah, nice job, man. Have you been able to stick that PowerPoint into the drive yet, or?
Yeah, I put that in the team meeting trainings folder.
Awesome.
Yeah, I put that up Saturday so I don't forget about it.
So, Hibernate itself, where does that program reside? Is it something that your web server will have?
It's just a bunch of jar files. you want me to share my screen and kind of go through it? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really helped me because I struggled with this my last semester, and
There you go. I stopped sharing mine. So.
you guys can you see mine?
Not
Oh,
yet.
I have to click share. Hang on.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, can you see me now? So NetBeans has Hibernate kind of built into it. So the first thing you have to do is go over here on your libraries, right click and say add library. And you've got this Hibernate right here.
Is
I
that the
don't know
one we
what-
should use?
Yeah, there's a newer one, but if you're going to use the one that's in NetBeans, you don't have to update everything else.
Okay, so it
Um,
actually resides in your program, not on the server.
So these are just jar files. So when you click add library, it adds all this stuff, all of these jar files.
Okay.
You're not going to use all of them, depending on what
Right.
kind that you write or kind of program you write. And then right click on your package or the project, and then you go to new other, and you pull down here, and there's Hibernate. And there's a whole bunch of different ones. I've only used the top two, but the Hibernate config wizard will create your hibernate.xml file. And on your next screen, it asks you what database are you talking to.
So you have a database.
Yeah, you have to have a database. So I'm just using Oracle.
That's your
And-
local database.
Yep. And then it brings up this configuration, and if you look at the source, it's just that raw data. And I've actually got mine written. So you have your JDBC driver, or your username and password for your database. And then that next one was creating the XB, whatever they call it, HBM file.
Yeah.
And I'm still playing with that one, but in my other class, I've got it down here somewhere. And that HBM file actually contains column names and operator types for your database. And that's where I was goofing up. I have this person, capital P, and it wasn't capital. And my class name is person, so these have to match. So that's basically how you do it. And of course, you have to have your database created first, but
So the class name up there on line 4 is hibernation.person.
that's your class. Yep. These
So the
down here.
hibernation,
Sorry, go ahead.
hibernation comes first. Tells it
That's
that
just
it's a
the-
hibernation file. Oh,
That's just the
I
package.
got it. I see it
That's
now.
just the package.
I
So
see it now.
it'd just be whatever.
Right. Whatever
And then
folder it's
your
in.
class name.
Okay.
Yeah, and this first line here, this attribute is the primary key, I guess. In my case, it's ID, and it's an integer. Column name is ID. And then that assigned, that will increment it when you're adding new things. And then your property name is name, phone, email. Those are column names in the database, and they're strings. And in a database, it would be a varchar2 or
Right.
R or whatever. So that, and when going back to his presentation, it says you don't need to know the underlying API. You do not need to know SQL at all when you use Hibernate. And that's what I like about it.
So you just tell it it's a string and it figures out what kind of string.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Okay.
An integer and it figures out it's an integer.
hmm
Doesn't care, doesn't need anything else.
It'll somehow the application will convert it and SQL will write it.
Huh.
So that's how it's done. So what we have to do in our program is just create a little Java class and write to a database, and read from and write to something else, or write to the screen.
So what's in your person Java?
It just adds a. It's more of the same.
Okay, so there's your strings, your ID.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, and this insert person is where I kind of get really crazy, but because I can't quite get this to work.
But do you have to have a Hibernate for that as well? Because it's a different class?
It's all one and the same. Hibernate works for your whole entire.
No, I mean, you're going to have, I can't shake the mouse and make your point. So right underneath the hibernation, where you've
Right, I've
got
got
person,
insert person and person.
insert person. So down in your,
Down here?
oh, I guess it is, yes, HBM file, you're going to have an insert person HBM file also?
No, and I'm not really sure where's that HBM file?
Because according to all we just heard, you can't use that same person.htm because it's not using insert person.htm.
I'm not sure though, because and maybe that's why I'm not working, but
I'm going to assume that you got to have both.
class, and you might be right. I thought I just needed one for the database.
It can't connect because it's looking for insert person HVM. It may be all the same stuff in there.
It might be.
Oh yeah, it would be all the same stuff, wouldn't it?
Because this insert person is the interface.
Hey, we made your other program work too.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm going to go with that's it.
Yeah,
You're
the
gonna have
problem
to
I'm
have-
having is it can't find Hibernate CFG XML. I'm like, well, it's right there. What do you mean you can't find it?
It's not specified where it's at. It's in the
Yeah.
default package.
So I've been fighting with this for all day.
What class is this?
What do you mean?
What class is this?
This is 360. This is
Really?
my last semester stuff.
Oh, okay.
And this is my current semester stuff.
Okay, got
So,
it.
yeah, I had it working and it doesn't work now. So anyway, okay.
Nice. Thanks for the info.
Yep.
So,
All right.
Okay, so yeah.
Presenting.
So
as
I gotta,
Hibernate itself, I recommend just going through that tutorial.
yeah.
I mean, like I said, I didn't go through the whole thing, but the stuff I got through was, oh wow, this is really good. And then I tried to pick out the points that I thought we'd actually need to learn today, and just kind of covered that in there.
So you just started the overview?
Yeah, I did
Okay, yeah, I see it.
the first 3 or 4 that I did at the home, then overview, and then well, I did actually Hibernate home, then it kind of covered ORM as in the Hibernate overview.
What is, okay. Well, definitely something to go and consider.
Yeah. Oh, with that, that's what reminded me. Did you post that Word document for the write-up?
I did.
Okay.
Hang on for a
Type
second.
that up and submit it.
Oh yeah. What was I gonna? Did you get an answer back from Brother Tuckett, Mark, about
Yes, I
the?
did.
Awesome. What did he have to say?
He said we could. Hold on.
Sounds like a butt.
It's minor. For the initial one that we post, go from whatever, dissatisfied or greatly dissatisfied or whatever, we can use the team one. Eventually, we will have to create our own to get up to the highest level.
Okay.
I'm logging into my email now to see exactly what he said.
It's named Understanding Portfolio Template. It's a Word document.
So the question we had was, the video teaching portion, does that satisfy the requirement of teach one another, or do we have to have an individual video where we teach the subject? What's that? Right?
You know, when you look through his examples, that's not the case.
Okay.
So, for example, under UML, in the document under UML class diagram, I was able to use a class diagram as part of a design in my collection application. Diagram helped me to identify necessary classes interfaces. Teaching video, none.
Yeah.
My first try at this diagram, my code. So basically, you're just showing, you don't have to teach it, you just have to show proficiency in using it. So basically, you have to show that you can create something. And it looks like you may have to show him 4 different ones if you want the highest level.
Right. He said for this one, for the level 2, it's fine to use the team one. And then for level 3, you have to create your own individual one.
So that's a good question. Does that count as my individual one? Or because you guys were providing input, it doesn't?
I don't know. I would say it does, because you kind of were going on your own for a while, you know? But
Yeah, you're the one who
maybe
physically
somehow
did it.
edit that portion out and make a new YouTube video based on that, and then post it as your own.
I could just tell him the timestamps from where I
Yeah.
discussed it with you guys, and he can go watch it and determine whether or not I knew what I was doing or not.
That's true, yeah. You could submit that early enough if you have to go and recreate another one. There's
I'll
plenty of
tell
time
you.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I guess I was actually coding a lot of that, wasn't I? I wasn't really listening to you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was doing what I wanted to do. You're saying do this, and I, no, we need to do this instead. Go me. Oh, Matt emailed back.
Oh gosh, what did he say?
We're recording.
Yeah. No, I'm opening my email. I know. What did he say? I mean, email's closed.
It's a pretty long one. I'm still reading.
So he says between 8 and 5 and 8 is time he spends with his kids. And then I'm trying to focus on getting things done.
So he's still in the class.
Yeah, he's just going to take the grade hit by not doing the group work.
Can you pass it without doing the group work?
No, you fail a lot of your interpersonal.
I think you'd probably get a C.
So, okay, here comes the question. Can anybody meet after 8 o'clock?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly can.
I can. I mean, that's 9 o'clock for me, but it's fine, and I can go till 11. So even 8:30 or 9 o'clock Mountain Time, I can do. I've done that plenty of times before.
Yeah, we just wanted to get it earlier because we all have other classwork and whatnot, but
Right?
I can work
I just-
around it. It's not a big
For
deal.
me, I thought it was nice. I don't have to be up until midnight doing group projects.
Hmm.
But we can still do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody kick back and say we can meet at a later time. That's fine.
I'll kick it back.
Okay, as a group, what time do you say? 8:30 Mountain? 8 o'clock Mountain? 9 o'clock Mountain?
I think.
We've been going 2 hours.
I don't know if I could do 9 Mountain, especially. I mean, if it was an hour meeting, probably.
You're in Kentucky, aren't you?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
you're Central also?
yeah. So that'd be, and I got to get up at like. Well, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but
I got you beat, dude.
Well, if we keep them at an hour, we would
Yeah,
have to
should
be
we-
strict. We have to
You're
be
going to try and pull that card, weren't you?
I was going to.
They're
but
going to get up
didn't
at
happen.
5.
I think we would have to keep it strict. and do an hour, just because
I
of that,
agree.
that
I'm with
exact.
that. So
'cause
if we
we're
set
gonna,
9 and block it off at 10 and be done
Mhm.
with this, that's 11 o'clock for those of us in Central.
and if you want to stay on longer, stay on, because I mean,
Right.
I can.
But there's no
I like
obligation
working in a
after
group.
that
Right.
time wall.
I think so, as long as we don't make any group decisions at that time. But I could use help.
Well, we just
Anybody
stopped
that-
the recording at 10 o'clock. We're done.
Okay.
The recording stops at 10 o'clock, and after that, once the recording's done, you're free to.
Free to go. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Free to go, free to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, who's sending it back?
I am right now.
Yeah, I'm good with any time being. Actually, a little bit later is better for me when we start hitting those, because that puts me about 7:30, 8 o'clock, so it gives me time to get.
Oh, you're
scriptures
Pacific,
ready to
aren't you?
Kids. Yeah, I'm
You're Pacific. So,
So
see, that's the thing. It's either later or
it's
earlier.
still early enough for me. It's not a big deal. Any of those times. Like right now, I just stay late out. And have no distraction because no one else is here at the office.
Yeah.
Or so we push it later, I'll just be logging in from home.
All right, see what he says.
I heard an email.
Okay.
It didn't come through.
It's still
I
sending.
heard it. Oh. Oh, that was another email.
I'm getting the spinny circle, so yeah.
Okay, then. So today we were also supposed to discuss JUnit.
Yep,
Yeah.
That was Matt.
that was Matt, and
It's fun.
I don't know much about those. Are those the tests that you run in NetBeans to get your app, see if your app
Yeah.
works?
That's what essentially what I was going to say. What I remember about JUnit is you build your application, and then it's just a test that you put in all your parameters for your low range, your high range,
Yeah.
your mid range.
Got it.
Some that throw out errors, and the JUnit is just a way to test your application before or portions of the application before it's actually run in the actual code. I mean, well, the actual code, but in the actual application. So
You put in fake numbers,
right,
and you purposely go over the limit or under the limit to see if it'll error out, right?
right. I do whole numbers, partial number, decimals, and it's just
Okay.
you do that just to see what the application's going to do with it.
So I did a search for JUnit, and it looks like it shows it in NetBeans.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said. It says public void test sub. Public void. I know those are the other things, but it's just a int equals total equals 1. Int sub equals.
Yeah, I remember
Something.
those.
Yeah, you just have to program the error code for it, so then it'll display what
You're
your
basically
error
hard
is.
coding the values,
Right.
right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hold on, the page says, hey, there's a tutorial.
Oh, nice. So I'm trying to think. JUnit for our application.
In the chat window.
Oh, he replied. He just doesn't want to worry about it, he says.
That's a bummer.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then we move forward.
Doesn't mean we can't email him and ask him about our database if we have a question.
Right.
Still part of the group. Either way, he's still part of the group.
Yeah, that might still count as some of the professionalism, so that's okay.
We will need to redistribute some of the listed responsibilities.
Yep. I'd like to do more teaching if I could. I'm sure everybody is okay with that.
I'm not upset by it.
I was just going through my, the portfolio thing last night, just filling in everything, and it says YouTube video. I'm like, I really need more. So I was filling out my personal schedule, and I just decided I think I really need more teaching experience. So I can take up some of his.
Okay.
I'm just looking at
I'll
him right
take
now.
his. I'll take his facilitators. I'll just take all his facilitators.
Okay.
That'll
So-
put me back to back 2 weeks in a row.
You okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
See, Matt has.
November 1st and 3rd.
See, Matt has Hibernate on 10/25.
Oh,
gonna
you know
take
what?
I'm going to
Hey,
take that because I'm going to get it working.
somebody want to trade my November 10th, please?
I can do that,
That's my wife's birthday.
Oh, come on.
but it's a Tuesday. I mean, come on.
That's a Thursday, and I really
it's a
ought to be
Thursday.
there for that. So I'll take November 1st, 3rd, and 8th. If somebody can trade for my November 10th. You know, Cody, it would be 3 in a row for you too.
Yeah, I'm fine with anything.
So November 10th, you're looking for the.
Facilitator.
Oh yeah, I could do that. By that point, we're pretty much just wrapping up stuff.
Yeah, I just don't want to.
A lot of facilitating, but
I don't
not so
want
much
to
teaching then.
mess things up at that point for you guys. I totally forgot.
Right.
So that's gonna get me in so much trouble.
Yeah, good call on that one.
Okay, I'm already teaching on the 18th, so it'll be a little challenging to do both. I can take the 25th, unless Jason, you want that.
Well, I was just going to do the 25th because it's Hibernate, but I'll give it
Oh,
to
that's fine.
you
No, you're fine.
because I'm facilitating on that day, but I could do both.
I'm facilitating on the 3rd, and I still have a lesson,
that's
so
okay.
it doesn't
That's
matter.
okay. We'll just shoot right into the first one, and then Mark has the second one.
Okay.
Right.
So that's next Tuesday.
I'm doing JSON on the 3rd.
I'm doing JSON on the 18th. That's Tuesday.
Okay.
What else
Matt,
does he have?
Any other ones? Or I think
He's got JSON and JUnit. Is that the only thing he has? Or?
You should
Yeah.
have 2.
Well, he's got one on. I already put my name on some of them. If you're looking at the spreadsheet,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tuesday he had JSON, or Thursday of this week he had. No, I'm sorry. Next Tuesday, JSON.
Next Tuesday.
He has my
Um,
Hibernate again on the 2nd, or
Okay.
on the 25th. He's
Yep.
only got 2.
And I stole that. Yeah, he only has 3:
3.
Hibernate, JSON, and JUnit. So 2 more in addition to today. And
Well,
it
we're
was
going to have to cover JUnit.
Uh-huh.
We may have to do a 3 anyway,
Yeah.
so one of these days.
So maybe the 3rd.
How about October 20th? I'll take JUnit tests.
Okay. So I think we're covered.
Yeah, I think we got all that now.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
Yeah. I know how he feels. I was overwhelmed last semester. It's hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
Those Oracle database classes just killed me.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still in one.
I wouldn't be able to survive this class and an Oracle class at the same time.
I did
Oh,
project
dude.
management in this class and I couldn't do it.
Oh,
Not project
so-
management. I'm sorry. Whatever 381 was. Business analytics.
Mm.
Business intelligence. It was a rough one.
This is like my first online class because I've been going on campus, but this is my last semester, so I'm home now, so
Mm.
it's been a new experience for me, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm nothing but online. So I miss out on some of the fun classes.
Yeah, same here. I'm all online. Oh, okay. So what do we need to do?
Okay.
Where are we at?
Well,
That's the team meet. Who's taking notes?
I am.
Wait.
I am. I'm the drudge.
Okay.
last meeting we discussed doing the use case document and creating the burn down list.
So we still need to create the burn down list at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Right.
And I did create some of my documents. I'm a little confused if I did this right. Let me share my screen and ask. Hang on, let me open it up. Oh, hey, they're all called use case. Crackhead.
Use case make it so easy, titles.
Yeah, well, they're all called use case. Okay.
To do the sequence diagrams, right? After what you did last week for our use case.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's just it. Sequence diagram. Yes, the sequence diagram for each of the use cases. And I started mine, and that got into really basic programming. You're basically programming it, and I got a little upside down on some things with that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. If I can find the right screen to share, because I got so much going on. Everybody see that?
I do.
Yep.
That's a use case. Okay.
Okay, this is the use case I came up with for the entire, because we were supposed to do it for the entire program, correct?
Yeah, but I don't think it was supposed to be in one single one.
Was it? Because I made it all in one single one, because all the examples I saw were all in one single one.
And that just might be my misunderstanding, but each use case had its own diagram, and then the diagrams were put together into one document. But that just might be my understanding.
Because this is
Yeah.
basically, there's only two separate functions going on here. Now, the database administrator, the little person on the bottom left-hand screen, I don't know if you can see that or not. Hang on, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Is that better?
Yeah,
You
that's
don't need
better.
to see the top.
Yeah.
Okay, so the little database guy right here, he's got a lot of stuff to do. He can do every single thing there is. And I went to the state diagram, and I pulled all those things that we decided into the use case diagram. So, and I wish there were colors in this because it would make it a lot easier to follow. So the administrator can add a user, can edit a record, can hide and remove a record, can create a record. I got to add a user twice. I missed something then. And can search the database, right? He's got all these different things he can do. And so there's arrows pointing to each one, right? And they go to the database. The database answers with the return results, which then goes back to the person. I put it to his head because, you know, fingers do the typing, eyeballs see the results, right? So other than the fact I've got two of these add users in here, which I need to go back and make sure there wasn't something I missed, that's all the stuff that the database administrator can do, which is everything. And the reason I put them all in the same one is the operator shares the same thing as the database manager when it comes to the search database. They both can do the same function, and they both have a return of results. So this case right here, this use case, is very simple. This operator has a very limited amount of stuff that they can do. If you pull this up like this. If we were to be able to draw a box around this, that's it. That's their interaction.
Okay.
So if we were to,
So
if I look, go ahead.
Looking at this, because I was supposed to create the use case for the add the new user, and I would actually have a couple more steps I'd have to add to it. Because when we add a user, we just add a basic user, or we add an administrative user that has different permissions. And so
Both.
I think each individual use case will have to be created as well, so that we see what functions they can do within that use case.
Hey, look, I get to get colors. So
Yeah,
in my
'cause you
thought
can
with
change
the add user, it's a database, right? And you have a checkbox for the add user that is administrator or not administrator. If it's not checked, they're not an administrator. So on the
Right.
screen, from a screen point, so when you're creating the user, it's not really much more than just a checkbox, yes or no, true or false.
Right. The screen point is only a checkbox, but behind that, it's basic users, they get those permissions. Then
Right.
administrators, they get all those plus all the extra permissions.
Right.
So I thought the use case kind of had a diagram, or it kind of breaks them off as
Does
user
it break
permissions
down?
and admin permissions.
But I think use case is really basic, remember. It's just
Right.
what do users do to the system. When you're talking about permissions and things like that, that gets into your sequence diagram.
Okay,
And
so
that's
I
why I
might
was
be
asking, because
thinking of the wrong one then.
if you do
Yeah.
a search for use case,
Well, yeah, look on the drive, and I've got a couple of documents up there that I pasted for just the basic. There's not a lot to the banking app. But if you think about banking, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see, and that's laid out in the sequence diagram.
there's actually an ATM one, and this is one that I kind of looked at and thought, hey, this is pretty cool. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can actually add that in. Are you kidding me? Hey, look, big black box. Maybe it'll do it this way.
Everybody likes a black box.
No, it won't do that way. But there gives you a. All right, fine. I'm going to give you in the chat window.
Oh, there you go. The GIF.
In the chat window, here's the link to the graphic I'm
There it
looking at.
is.
Just go back to the use case over here. Oh, that's my. No, that was the wrong one. Yo. There we go. All right, so everybody see the ATM?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So the operator can start the system and shut the system down, right?
Mm-hmm.
The customer starts a session, which includes, and see, that's some of the things I may have missed out on, is they do in the ATM, they have an invalid PIN. So it does have to have something along there for authentication. So I did miss that. I probably have a step in between that authenticates. They both authenticate, and after authentication, it goes to operator, and it goes to, a circle goes to operator. This guy should have a circle here that goes to operator, and this guy, the administrator, have a circle that goes to the administrator, and the use cases for each go to them, right?
Right.
But since they both share the database and the return values, that's where it gets a little crazy. But in that, they've got transaction, which is withdrawal, deposit, transfer, and inquiry. So a session can have a transaction, and each transaction has each transaction uses, that's what the little arrow is, a withdrawal, a deposit, a transfer, an inquiry, and that sends that to the bank. And the bank doesn't actually reply anything. And that's where I got a little confused. There's no results coming back from the bank in this case.
I think results are implied in a use
It's
case.
part of that transaction is results from the bank.
So if it's implied, then we delete it.
Yeah, because returning results is more of a sequence.
Okay. So Oops. Don't do that. How do you get that to unlock without doing them each individually? I guess you got to do them each individually.
I will be right back.
So you have an administrator session, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
That would be within the scope, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It'll be right here, right? Part of the system.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Okay. And then you have authentication.
So at this point, it almost looks like you can replace your actor for the your administrator actor doesn't even need to exist.
Well, he's still an actor, though.
That's true. I was thinking because I was thinking the operator could go to both the user and the administrator session, depending on which one they got is what they did. But they really are two different roles, so they should be separate.
Yeah, they are
actors.
separate. So each one Nope, sorry. Authentication. Why didn't you lock on there? Is that more correct?
It does look like it has, more of the things going on,
Yeah, because the first thing you do is you authenticate. Then once you authenticate, it then gives you either your user or your administrator session.
Oh, you know what? This is still wrong, though. This is still wrong.
Session. Okay.
Because the user session and the administrator session oh, come on. Watch this. This is how it actually goes. Delete, 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 and delete. And these actually reverse. These arrows to reverse. Uses. Right?
Yeah, it looks, closer to the example for sure.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, the subcases are essentially they all are part of the they all use the administrator session.
This is how it goes. Hey, I learned something new. Even a hard cat can learn something new. It just happens to be that search database is used by both.
Right.
Now, does that look correct?
Yeah, that looks pretty good to me.
Okay, I'm back.
Now, with this, do we have to define where it returns the results?
And none of the ones, the examples I've seen do. I was mistaken when I put that on there, I guess.
So do you need a line from the database to the search database now, or to?
No, it goes to each
To the
session.
sessions.
Goes to that one. And then let's put him to his brain. Right? I mean, it's a little ugly looking, but this would probably be more in line with what we saw in that example, because the search database is used by the user session or the administrator session, but the administrator session also uses add user, edit record, hide, remove record, and create a record. And where is my state diagram at? Because we're missing something. I got too many windows open. Okay, so an administrator can access the administrator menu, which is the administrator session, right? Should we set that in menu or session? It's session. They can edit a record, add a user, create a record, or hide and remove a record. So there's an extra one in there. At this point, we're just going for pretties. Look, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Now, is that correct?
The user session points to the dude's head.
I know.
Okay. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where all the information's at. It's the database. This dude right here,
Oh, that's not a DBA. That's the database. Got it.
that's the database itself.
Okay.
And I put it at Ked because, you know, I put it to his hand. He's not going to answer anything with his hand.
Sure. No, I was like, that's the DBA. That's weird because arrows shouldn't be pointing out, but that makes sense if the database is a user, which we talked about last week. So, okay.
Well, and that's what I ran into. All the examples I saw, like, for example, you go to the ATM system one we're looking at, the bank itself is an actor.
Right.
So it's drawn as a little stick figure because it's an actor.
Mhm.
The bank itself acts. So the database acts. It returns information, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, me too. As far as this example.
So is this correct, though?
For a use case, I would say yes. Now we need to start breaking it up into other things, more detailed. And that'll tell us if we're correct or not. Because we may have duplication once, or we could probably shorten it down once we start getting into the nuts and bolts of how this is going to function. And keep in mind, a UML case is just a starting point.
Right.
You're never
And I'm not
actually going to code from your use case document.
And I'm not being, pessimistic or all that when I say this, but I'm not really seeing anything that's missing. But I'm also not seeing anything that's that could be added or taken out.
Does there need to be a diagram for each use case that we each individually made, or that's what my
That would be
question
the
is.
green bar thing.
That's the sequence portion, and the
So in our last meeting, we talked about each one of us needed to create this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would create one for the team and say, this is the team one. So I'll say this is the team ones and
yeah,
go back and redo my own because mine wasn't right to begin with. So I came in and said, hey, so this is the team one right here. We all agree that we think this is more correct than anything we've seen before. Right?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Right.
Yes.
So it's going to be relatively the same for each of us when we do this to prove proficiency. You may put them in different order. I don't know.
I'll just pretend that I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have our individual
Boring.
programs we're supposed to create as well, so you just do the same thing.
yeah.
True.
I'm doing one just completely different based on my elevator pitch, which I didn't do. But the ideas that I don't know. For my personal use case, I'm doing a completely different thing. I'm not doing it based on our team app at all. For my individual, but we still have to do the team. And
Mm-hmm.
the user stories that we did that were due last week, these bubbles, and describe what the user did and how the database or whatever reacted. And we don't really need to go through and make a diagram out of those because it's already diagrammed right there. Adding a user, editing a record, there's not a lot more use case for that. You can't really add more bubbles
Yeah, you
because
pretty
that
much just
gets
take
too
away
deep,
bubbles.
and that's where that gets and that gets you down into the sequence portion, the transactions, I can't remember the next level down, but I think it's the sequence diagram, right? With the green arrows and the returns and all of that, because that's what I worked on this week.
So I'm having
For
another.
my user story.
So I have another question about the state diagram. Let me go to that real quick. See if I've got it open. Oh, not open.
Keep closing my drive.
Real quick.
Does it make sense to install the Google Drive app on my computer?
Not
Yeah,
really.
do
I
you
never
use
use
it?
it.
You don't?
I do it all
never-
the time. I use it on my
Because
own.
I use OneDrive for business, and I mean that's what I sync to my computer. But I don't know. It just seems opening a web page every time I need a file is just kind of a pain.
Yeah. I tried it and it did something to my
But-
system and I didn't like it. So I
Does the shared with me stuff come down? That's my.
It depends on how it's shared. I mean, you can tell it. Some that you have to tell it to map to your drive, and then it'll come
Okay.
down with it.
Because most of this stuff isn't shared with me.
Right.
So here's my
Yeah, a lot of
question.
that, I think a lot of that stuff I click on it, just right click, say map to my drive, and then it'll download. If you
We all
if you
think
install it.
that this state diagram is pretty good, right? This is fairly
Yes.
accurate to what our program is. My question is this loop right here, the one that comes out and goes back in.
Mhm.
We're putting it into a decision right here, right? And it decides whether or not the user was an end user or was an administrator. And then it goes back in.
Correct.
Is there supposed to be a state that goes in there before that decision?
Oh boy,
Re-authenticate?
I did this wrong.
No, because it's passing the authentication with it.
Right, but it still has to re-authenticate and make that decision on what it does. That was my question. So you're right. You're absolutely right. But does it have right here, because it is passing who it was, and then connect here,
And then that goes to the decision.
and then that goes to the decision.
So you're saying like the user would have to
Nope.
put in.
No. The system
Oh, okay.
system
Okay.
decides.
That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
System has to decide if this is which user this is. So there has to be a state here where it actually decides that, right? Because it's making a decision.
Yeah,
And that
I
was
would
my
think so.
question. So that was my question. Did we
That's
miss
true.
that? So does it have to do that? And it should be more like internal re-authenticate.
Mm-hmm.
Cancel.
I blew this. I did a sequence diagram, not state. Oh well. I'm ahead.
So internal re-authenticate user. After they choose a new query, it goes back and internally re-authenticates the user, and then sends them back either to the search window for an end user or the administrator menu for an administrator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there we go. One more thing got added in that was correct or incorrect.
Sweet.
Oh, I need to re-PDS this, don't I?
Did you share out the VSD file?
Yeah, I'll do both.
Okay. I looked for it earlier today and I only saw the PDF. But like I said, I did this completely wrong. I did sequence diagrams, which is the next phase.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we really need to get through these because we need to start coding.
Right, yeah, we do.
So I say we go from here to sequence to class. So next week we can start coding.
What? Huh?
What, did I lose you?
Yes. Big time.
State diagram, and then after that's your sequence diagram.
Right.
After that is your class diagram, your Java classes.
Okay.
And then after that you start coding.
Okay.
All the way back to 260, man. What was that program called?
Walk the dog.
Visual Paradigm.
Yes.
Okay. File is called, oh, that's called state diagram. Stupid. You name it to what? State diagram.
Call it this skills resource assessment. Just give it our project name.
Yeah, I did.
SRA.
It's called SRA. Hey, I like that much better.
That sounds awesome.
It does. SRA is a very good name. Now create a graphic and we're good to go for
Yeah.
our
I'll
thing.
be the marketing department of our app. I'll make a logo.
All right, so there is a VSD in there. It's called Skills Resource Assistant, but it doesn't say state diagram in front of it. I'm going to remove that file because it's It's been depreciated. How about that? Remove, and I'm also going to remove the old PDF of the state diagram. So now if you look in there, you'll see one that says State Diagram Skills Resource Assistant. There's a PDF so that you can view it without VSD. And there's a VSD so that you can download it and make your own.
Cool.
Sweet.
And we do need to start coding, but we also do need to do wireframes. I think it's going to be pretty basic looking, but you need to start out with wireframes and you come up with a consensus of what you want it to look like, because you really can't code if you don't know what you want it to look like. Because your GUI is just as important as your coding.
Where's the okay? And I don't know what wireframes are because I'm still thinking UML process.
Okay.
So
let me see if I can find a wireframe from an old class.
Yeah, it's like that's.
It's
what
just a
class was that,
screenshot
230?
of what you. Yeah, it is 230. That was exactly what it is. It's
I
a
haven't-
screenshot.
yeah, I took that one, but I don't remember.
Yeah, you had
230 was web, wasn't it? Just basic web stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Okay,
it was basic web stuff on your phone.
I never.
That's
did
not
that.
I
what
never did that.
mine was. Just on the computer.
Mine was on the computer,
Well-
and I had to make it adapt to a mobile browser. But
Right,
didn't
so we
do
did all
any-
ours on our phones. Well, we viewed them on our phones to make sure everything was good.
yeah, okay. So that's interesting. I just had never heard that before. So
I have a program that I got in 230 that was freeware. By the way, it's not like I'm sharing something wrong. Let me stop sharing here too. I'm still sharing, aren't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I've got you presenting, so
Nah, do I care? No. Ain't nothing in there I gotta go talk to the bishop about. I've got way too many of these windows open. Close all windows. Passport. It was 230, right?
Yeah.
Web fundamentals.
Yep.
Projects. Huh. Was it 230?
I'm pretty
No.
sure.
that was HTML and CSS.
It wasn't 230. It was 260. Nope.
For
260.
wireframes,
Yeah.
I only
Yeah, it
took
would be
the
260.
230, and that was the only web class I ever took.
261 is Android programming.
261. That's
Okay. I didn't take that one.
261. There we go. I'm still presenting, but I gotta change my presenting. Ugh, come back here. All right. Hang on. Bear with me. That is a wireframe. You see all? Can everybody see that?
Not yet.
Why is it not
Just your black face.
my black face? Oh, well, there it is. It's on my screen. You see it now?
Nope.
Really?
I must have closed Hangouts because I don't see anything anymore.
You're
We're
blind,
still talking,
man.
but we're still
All right,
talking.
fine. I'll
But
redo this again. You know what?
I'm already in a call. Okay, take me there.
Can you see me now?
I can not.
Yes.
Yes,
Picture
I see your phone.
See my phone?
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wireframe.
Oh,
So you-
and that's called, what did we call that in 230? Because we did do that too. It was, we downloaded templates from internet and then drew it on.
Yeah.
We just drew,
right.
hand drew.
You can
and
hand
then,
draw something. We just happen to have, there's a program. I gotta go find it because I don't know where it's at.
okay, so wireframing is just template, or I don't know what you want to call it.
What you want it to look like.
Right.
Yep.
The graphical representation of your app on a phone.
Or on anything.
Or
It's
so
on
what
anything.
buttons you need, or
Right?
menus that you need. Okay.
Is it called Pencil? I think it's called Pencil. Yeah, I think it's called Pencil. It's a 24 meg.
Yep. Pencil project.
I have the
That looks like
program.
what
It's
it
an
is.
older version. I can share it out through Dropbox if you want.
It says it's a open source GUI prototyping tool that you can install and use to create mock-ups in popular desktop platforms.
Yep. So,
Cool.
where's my window? In the chat window. That's disturbing. Stop that. Okay, in the chat window is a Dropbox link at the very bottom. Click on that. That should be the installer. Unless you want to go out on the web and just pull it down yourself. That's an older version.
2.0.5 is the current version.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
pulling it
there
down
you
right
go.
now.
That's the same version as 2014.
Okay, yeah, I'm on their website, and that's the current one.
Actually,
So that's our next step, right?
Yeah, I say everybody code their windows. Do a wireframe of their windows, so we know what it's going to look like.
Okay.
And that'll actually, there needs to be a common theme, but I want to see individual ones so that we can each say, I like yours better than I like mine.
And so when you say ours, you mean our use case or user story from 2 weeks ago.
Right, from 2
Okay,
weeks ago.
That's easy.
So
I
like
can do
mine was
that.
a search. Mine's a search window, and I can either and I wanted to be able to search either by a drop-down menu or by typing in a word, right? So I would need to have both of those menu type things on the screen so I could do either or. And the categories and all the other things. And once you get all your ideas in print, then you can, it makes it easier to code from because you think, hey, that button right there, I really needed to have that. That's what I wanted to see.
Right, that makes sense. You're getting your
Get your
button,
GUI.
and go back and add the coding to it.
Right. You get your GUI all lined out, and then you add your code to make it work.
So you guys are saying for each use case that we made previously, we do a wireframe type deal for it for the next meeting? Or
Yeah.
did I not catch that?
No, you caught that right.
All right.
So, for example, mine was the what was that? It's way up here, isn't it? Gosh, it's way up there. My use case was user looks for individual skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to narrow down the list of topics to a manageable list by searching a general topic list and then narrow it down to another list, or search the list by alphabetical order by typing in the first couple letters of the one that they're looking for, right? So on my screen, I would have a search window and then at least two buttons underneath that would be the other. Matt was doing remove user. That's pretty easy. Jason's doing updating existing members. See, that one's going to be kind of the hard one, all things considered, but actually Mark and Jason's are going to be very similar. In fact, they're going to be absolutely similar.
Mark's was what? Add user?
Mark is add user, and you're updating
So I could do
existing.
add and remove at the same time.
Yeah. And what did
Actually,
Matt have?
Matt had remove a user.
Oh, and that would be easy. Just throw that into add remove user.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean,
Okay.
the different parts and they show up at, but essentially it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Mark, your screen is going to be add user or remove user, and it's a button basically. Actually, yours is going to be the main menu for the administrator, Mark.
Add user would be?
Yeah, because that's on the main menu. If you go back to the use case,
Yeah, you're right.
the use case has got 5 functions there, so add user is part of those functions. So you can, quote, search, add user, edit, remove user, hide it, something, all of that. Those are your buttons that you would put in there. Jason would go ahead and outline what a enter member and edit member would look like, because those are the exact same things. Enter member just comes up with blank information. Edit a member comes up with the information populated and you edit it. So there's no difference in those two. Cody would add new skills, which is basically a couple of fields that, however,
It's
we're going to do
similar
that.
to user, except they're just tied to the user.
Well, adding a new
It's an
skill.
extension.
Adding a new skill is the one where you add in.
Oh, that's the skills database that.
Yes.
Okay.
Where you're adding a skill, so you type in a volunteer, name, phone number,
okay.
skill they're capable of doing. We limited that
Then
to
let me ask
5.
Let me ask this, because the users have skills.
Right.
When I'm editing a user, which mine is, wouldn't I be able to edit their skills also?
I would say no.
No?
Well, actually,
So how
I
are
would say
skills
yes.
That's what
Because if
editing the user probably would be, because most of the time.
That's what I would think, because if I all of a sudden learn how to canoe, I would be able to go in and add that as one of my new skills.
Right, because you may add a user.
Unless I have to be vetted somehow. Unless it has to be vetted somehow. That's a little bit too complex for me.
Right, well, at this point, we can ignore the vetting part of it. But I think at this point, if you add a user, you may just add a new member to the ward, and
I
then
really
come
hate
back
when my
later on to
computer
edit
says
the
this.
user and add the skills.
Yeah.
I missed all of that. My computer decided to go sleep again. Even though I'm using it, it said, you went to sleep. I don't know what the deal is with Google Hangouts. Every time I sit here on it for so long, it says, you went to sleep. I didn't go to sleep.
That's really weird.
Yeah, that is.
It even cleared my chat window. Everything's gone. So,
Well, my idea, sorry, I'm just going to just repeat this so I understand. My idea of editing a user is being able to not only edit their name, but assign skills or takes them away from a user.
I would agree.
And Cody's
I would
is
agree
adding skills
to the list.
generically to a list. Okay. Like adding a new skill.
Right.
Okay. That makes
Like
sense
a-
then.
And as far
Geocaching, or now we have our drone.
Because I
piloting
understood it
ones.
as adding a skill to a user. Like, well, that's part of it, modifying a user. So that makes more sense, and that's
And
Good.
you're right, because I was wrong.
no, it's okay.
I was
I just
trying
wanted to
to
make
separate them out. I was mentally
wanted to
trying
make
to
sense
separate
of
those
it.
out. So you would choose a user and then just choose some skills to go with it, like little check boxes in a scroll window.
Right.
But yours is actually would make more
That's
sense.
kind of editing a user,
Yeah, it would make
Right.
more sense.
but it's just a property of a user. So,
Right.
Okay, makes sense, and I'll be able to do that now.
Now,
I had
One
a
of the
question.
one of the things I did when I was using Pencil, just a FYI, if your screen has to scroll, I just extended the screen, just elongated the screen like it was one very big long screen, and put everything that needed to be in there, so you didn't have like 2 or 3 different phones showing the display. You show it like it would actually be on the screen if you were scrolling up and down, but just all in one view.
So in Pencil,
just-
you just drew one long phone, even though it's just really a scroll screen.
Right. I put a scroll screen out to the side, but it was one very elongated phone. I think that's what we did. I gotta find my.
Cody, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question about the add new skills. So as far as the application, the finished product, is that going to be like it's just a text box where they can add fields, or is the database going to have like a list of specific skills that can be
Database is
added?
supposed to have a list for the users to choose from, but for the administrator to put them in, it is a text box.
Okay,
So
so
it'd be
like,
something like a title, and then below it'd be a description.
okay. So would like whenever the user searches for a skill, would it just search for keywords then?
Yeah, out of all of that, it'd be searching the database for letters and whatnot.
Okay. That was my question.
So here's one. I can't find the one we did. It was all elongated, but here's one. We did it for 2 different views. Where's my share screen? You see that?
Yes.
So we did it for 2 different views also, because remember, you're going to do portrait or landscape.
Okay, kind of like phone and tablet. That makes sense.
Yeah, we used the tablet view just because it was wider and bigger, but stuff like this.
And that program that you sent to us, that's how you made these?
Mhm.
Okay.
So there's the phone turned sideways, what it would do.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is cool. I wish I would have had this in my 230 class.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a tool, it was really, really nice to have. So, for example, here was an add user. I think this was a register. So registering a user. Name, last name, email address, password, phone number. Are you over 18? Are you over 21? Male or female? Create the account.
Over 18, over 21 are probably actually 2 checkboxes we should include with this.
Probably because in all truth, the church has rules on if you're over 18 and driving, and over 21 and driving.
Right. And different skills require, even though you may be an expert and only 18,
Yes.
the laws may require you, even some state laws say shooting you have to be 21 to teach, or you have to be a certain age just to teach it too.
Correct. Quick, do a print screen. Do you want me to share these out?
Sure.
Sure.
I would be. I mean, it's good visual for me.
All right, let's see if I've got any more. I'm looking to see if I have any more in my folders. Those are just duplicates. Ooh, there's more.
So this is going to be what we're going to be going over the next meeting is our individual wireframes.
I would say, yeah, I added it already to the notes for next meeting.
Awesome.
So here's some more that we did. We were discussing things that needed to be added or taken out. So this one, we added things in. This one, we said, well, we can't do that. We took them out. We got a little aggressive on some of the things that wanted to be done.
Did I get the right app? How do you put a phone on there?
You have to scroll down. For me, it's about half.
Oh,
Well,
there we go. There we go. Yeah. I was thinking it was like Visio where you had stencils and you had to add them, but there's my phone. Oh, that is cool.
Like it?
Yeah. Dude, this is really cool. Okay, so let's wireframe our windows out. We'll do it before our meeting on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I may just be joining that one by phone. I'm in Arizona this week at my parents' house with my kids, and Thursday's a big family thing. So
Do we need to adjust the time for you?
I don't know where I will be. That's the problem. I'm going to Tucson. We're going to some outdoor park.
So the question is, would later be better for you?
Later would be better because I'm an hour behind again. I'm 2 hours behind from you.
So you're in Pacific.
Pacific, but it's actually just not daylight savings time. Arizona
Right, yeah,
isn't daylight.
Just
So
in
think of
Arizona.
it as Pacific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's put you in Pacific.
Yeah, so the later would be better.
So
Unless everybody has a problem with that. I'll do what I can.
I don't, but
I don't have
Cody's
a
also
problem.
in. What time? Then Cody, what
Let's
time
say
for you?
Is 8 too late for you, Cody? 8 your time?
No, that's not too late.
Okay.
8 our time is 6 your time.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'll be done by dinner time. I just don't know 4 o'clock where I'm going to be.
You want to go 8 our time, which is 7 Mountain, or 8 Mountain, which
that's
is 9 our
perfect.
time?
No,
Dinner time.
I don't want to do it that late. I'm saying 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock where I am. So
Matt's
okay, let me talk in Mountain.
Mark,
7
is that
o'clock
good for
Mountain
you?
is probably okay.
Mark, is that good for you?
Yeah, just going later means I might have some extra background noise of a kid, so not a big deal.
Yeah, you got mute.
Let's do. Let's do
I learned how to use.
7 o'clock Mountain, 8 o'clock Central. That'll be good for Thursday.
6
Yeah,
o'clock
thank you.
Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me try and get all these into a folder, and then I'll just drop them all in.
Did we want to do like the sequence diagram as a group on next meeting, or how did we want to do that?
Sequence diagrams are where you actually go
That's the green
transactions.
bar thing,
User,
right?
Yeah, user pushes button, returns data.
Oh, your wireframes actually really do help with that, because you look at the wireframe and go, oh yeah, that's what I need to do. But then it gets to the internal stuff. I hate those things.
Yep. But we really need to fly through these because we're behind.
We need to be coding like next week.
Mm-hmm.
We still need a burn down list too.
Yeah.
Okay, so burn down list. I'm going to say that each one of those bullet points is a burn down list, right?
Also, any software we use. Remember, we created that document for all the software we want to use.
Oh, who's
We
updating that?
update that. We all should be updating individually. I'm throwing the pencil one in there right now because I just thought of that. So.
Yeah, that's good.
So the Android Studio requires JDK while you're there.
Okay.
I haven't used anything other than NetBeans, Oracle, and now Pencil for any of
I
our stuff.
have actually added
although
Android Studio.
Okay, and I've been using Visio.
I really
that's
have
not an
added
additional.
Android Studio.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to just grab everything in this folder and drop it right there. Boop. And then everything in this folder, and drop it right there. I have no idea what that is. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, so where's the document? There we go. So I'm throwing that folder. It's called Pencil Examples. If somebody wants to rename it to something better than silly. It's going to take a minute for all those to get uploaded.
Yeah, I see them. They're good.
I'm on 12 of 24. I think a lot of these are actually going to be the same. And in there, you may find the EPs that already have them in there. EP is the pencil, right? I don't have this program installed on this computer.
I'm not sure. I haven't tried to save one. Let's see.
I think it installs as an EP. So that Gabe
EP
first
pencil.
phase 3, that should have all of those examples in there in soft form. Soft copyable
Yeah,
form.
EPs are pencils. Yes, that is right.
So there's a file in that folder called Gabe first phase number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And you may find a lot of those already in there. If you want to
True. Grab and just tweak them.
grab and tweak, you can copy and paste it into your project and then tweak it. You don't have to use my
Okay, so-
boring colors either. I just did all this. I gotta install that program. When you installed, did you have to do anything? Did it make you reboot or anything? I can't remember.
No,
No.
I just installed and came up.
Yeah.
It didn't launch correctly, so I closed it and then reopened it. It was fine. So for software on that list so far, I have NetBeans, Pencil, Java JDK, Android Studio. I put Visual/Visual Paradigm.
Hey, do you still have that link I gave you for the what's it?
Oh, Udacity.
Udacity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may
Yeah,
want
it's
to
in
put
the
that
email.
Udacity link in the right there above the JDK, because that gives a great example of how to install both of those two.
Installing the JDK. That's the link that you put in there today. But Udacity is the actual app, right?
Yeah.
Udacity's
Part of the-
website.
Part of the studio? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll just put the website in there. I have that link somewhere.
I did forget how cool this program was.
What is XSplit? Is that something we needed for? Oh, that's the encoding software. Never mind.
What?
The XSplit is one of the coding softwares I needed to run the Google Live videos or YouTube Live.
Oh.
Yes.
See, it won't open with it now. Well, so you guys got all new toys and I can't use mine.
What is VN? Venezuela? Do you see that on the URL for Pencil?
No.
Oh yeah,
Pencil
I did see that. I don't know.
Wallace.vn, huh? Just curious. Oh, my battery. I need to plug it in.
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I plugged in my power cord, but I didn't pop it into my laptop. There we go.
Ooh, look at that. Came open. Yeah, so that file actually opens up and it's got all of these in there in soft form already. Including the ones we ended up not using.
Okay, so I looked it up. .vn is Vietnam.
Probably got
It's one of the-
spyware in there.
Yeah, it's one of the world's riskiest country domain extensions, it says.
Hey, I just gave you all spyware.
We don't like your spyware.
I think we all like this spyware.
I need to jump on my other class.
Yeah, we probably should wrap it up. I mean, we're at 2 hours of being on here.
We're playing at this point too.
Yeah,
Admit it, you're playing.
truly.
I'm just trying to get caught up, moving stuff around and organizing stuff. So I can get my assignments done Thursday.
Yeah. So, who's teaching next time?
I am teaching.
And I am.
All right.
Wait,
Teaching
yeah.
NVC.
I have MVC. I have MVC.
No, I have MVC.
Okay, then I have something else. I have
Please
number
tell me.
1, Java collections.
I thought I was teaching NVC.
You are. I have Java collections. The map list set tree.
All right. Jason, what did you say you had?
Java collections.
Okay. And what did you have, Gabe?
MVC.
All right, sweet. I guess we are adjourned till Thursday.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty. Have a good week.
Y'all too.
Yeah, you guys too.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Talk to you in a couple days.
Bye.
Bye.